All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new week. Jackson Hole, and of course, earnings season continuing. That, not just the only things we need to talk about. A little bit of vol here this morning, some down, some up, and a lot of things to discuss through stocks, commodities, and cryptos. I hope everyone had a great weekend and you're ready to get started with some pretty good analysis. I hope to, over the next hour, hour and a half, to go through quite a few things that we're watching this week. And obviously, as always, we will break down the key levels, the macro, and everything else. So did everyone have a good weekend? Hope you did. And I hope you were pretty happy with gold as well. Well on our way towards $3,000 an ounce. The never-ending story of the next 12 to 18 months continues. And 2,550 break was pretty, well, 2,500 break was pretty strong. And that obviously means that we need to be looking now towards whether we can get a 2,600 or something a little bit more out of it. Also, some nice movements on silver. As we suspected last week, we started to see a little bit of an uptick in silver, and that went on to hit the first major target zone, which is $29. So silver, just the beginning potentially, but certainly as a day trader, this is a key level. S&P 500, are we at the bear level? That is the next question. So this is a zone that many of you have speculated is the final resistance, the final boss of resistance. And we have two major gaps. So today's discussion will be about, of course, can we get this gap filled? Can we move back down to those levels? Will you get any sort of chance to get in the buy the dip? Of course, people that were following over just only 2 weeks ago, if you can believe it, but people that were following 2 weeks ago in this live stream, you guys might have been happy down there at those prices. The subsequent Thursday trade was really good to get in, but it's been pretty difficult to grab anything like an NVIDIA or something on the way up, unless you're just buying, no real stop loss, and you're saying, you know what, I think this thing's absolutely ripping it. Orlando says NVIDIA going to 130 this week. So Xenos says, hey, Tom, can you have a look at PANW? Yeah, I want to look at PANW, SMCI, and a few others. A few people are saying crappy mic. Oh, it is the crappy mic. You know why? It's the Apple mic, guys. You're correct.
There we go. We fixed it. Fixed, guys. Thank you for letting me know, chat. Lol in the bathroom. It should be fixed now. Are you in a toilet? No, I'm not. It's just, I'm telling you, it's just the Apple mic. It's no good. Fixed, way better. Heck yeah. Sorry about that, fellas. All right, so let's go through here. Audio sounds like you're in a toilet. A lot of people saying that one. Algos have families too. Come on, guys. These algos need to eat. Absolutely. And I bet on rotation out of gold into silver. Okay. Hopefully we keep getting that. Turn the fan on, Tom. I will do so. All right. So US 500, 55.60 kind of area here this morning. This is pretty important. We know that this is the key resistance. So this around here, I think it's estimated that around 56.20, above that point, there will be a huge amount of hedging needing to be done to the current positive gamma situation that we find ourselves in. Of course, today's one-day move expectations, 5,600 basically on the top and 55.12. And you want to burn 55.12 into your minds because that was the low of last Friday. Now, because it was the low of last Friday, guys, what does that mean? Well, it's the low that the bears want to see busted. So 55.12. We need to have that one on our chart. Set alert below here. We'll do it together right now. We'll add an alert at the horizontal line. There we go. So if that happens, what is that going to tell us? Let's just quickly scroll down here and have a think about this market so far. And I want to go through the history of this run since we saw the sell-off on this Thursday. Basically, it's been a series of high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows. You see where this is going. High highs, high lows, high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows, high highs. So I ask you, chat. I mean, you guys are pretty smart. I know you've got the big brains. You've been doing TA for too long. You know, we're deep dark into the markets like most people aren't. So is that a market you really want to go against just yet? What do you guys think? Soto Sine says, is there an actual difference between the mood at the bond market and the stock market? The mood? What do we mean? Yeah, bond market traders, you can't understand what they're saying because they talk in gibberish, and stock market traders are doing cocaine. So that's the difference. You the man, Tom. Really appreciate these videos. No worries, Joshua. Thank you very much for joining us. And most people coming in with the big no. Yeah, you're right. That's all right, chap. It's not really an area here where we want to be looking towards shorting just yet. And that's why we were kind of cautious over this whole period because, well, firstly, short's way harder than longs. There's no doubt. Much more difficult in a market like this, especially late cycle. But I think this is the key area. You know, between this and 55, 56 kind of 100, 56.20, we need to be on the lookout for a potential reversal. And the main reason is probably to do with the Nasdaq. So let's just kind of move over. What we'll do is we'll split screen here and we're just going to load the cues onto the chart for a moment here. And of course, this is not impossible. Like we've had many green days. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you'll notice I've loaded the Nasdaq here with a pretty important point, 480. Now, what does 480 do? That fills a gap on the upside. Now, we still have a gap over here, which is way higher. And I would suggest you mark these out on your charts. But we also have now gaps left behind. So we've got 1, 2 gaps left behind, and we've got 1, 2 gaps above us. And anywhere in here is seriously critical resistance. So this is key resistance. This is the key support. If the market was able to, let's say, go higher and then drive under here, I'm thinking there's a possibility we go towards 53.50 on the S&P. Now, do I think we'll go much lower than that? Well, I'm not actually going to answer that. Let's get the chat to answer that. Chat, what do you think? Also, just a quick reminder, while we're at it, I will post this to everybody. Let me just quickly grab a new show that we're doing, courtesy of Pepperstone. If you ever want to come along, totally free to do so. We will be doing a live webinar series, and I've posted that in the chat then to X and FX to YouTube. And basically, it's just a free live webinar series where we're doing a bunch of education stuff. So a little bit different to our daily show, a bit more live, a bit more analysis like this, but with an education tinge. So if you want to learn a few things, definitely come across to that. What are options traders using? What do you mean, LV? What are they using from a brokerage, or what are they using from a perspective of data, or what level are they using? Is that the question you're asking yourself? All right, let's ask the chat here and find out what you guys think. Will we sell this level? Here we go. It's a simple question, and we are about to ask it. Will we sell at, let's go 55.50, okay, to 5,600? Yes or no? It's that simple. You guys answer the question, and we'll find out what we think in a moment. Yes, the possibilities are there to retest the SPX low, says Orlando. Okay. Mark Richards says kind of looking for a 0.5 fib as an indication of a strong continued uptrend. So looking at about 50% replacement here. Keith says, I'm too confused right now. Fair enough, Keith. No worries. And then I would short again, but it would go way up. Yeah. I think you got to be very, very careful unless it actually breaks to the downside here. Depends what the pre-market open drop was all about. Okay, so a little bit of pre-market selling, very small though, I think negligible. So just to mark that, if we go from the Friday high point to the lowest point, 0.5% was the move. So not really much that's just a standard overnight here. Tom, do you think TA maybe lessened a bit with NVIDIA coming up and maybe people FOMOing in to try to catch earnings thesis? NVIDIA, well, leads the way and everything else follows. I don't think TA is strongly bullish right now, Jason. So in terms of saying it's lessened, it's incredibly strong. For a stock like NVIDIA, that will trade a little bit on FOMO and hype. Of course, we've been incredibly bullish on NVIDIA the last 2 weeks, and it's been a spectacular return. The Qs have done 7 days up straight, and NVIDIA semiconductors pulling their length, and it's done very, very well. Now, again, if you reduced some position around 117, 118, don't be sad about that. That was an aim. Remember, you were making this decision down in here. You were saying, this is where I want to take a little bit of target. Now, if you're a trader, there's nothing wrong with that. But of course, if you're looking at something else, then, like if you're looking at investment or holding this for the late cycle period of the bubble and everything, then yeah, of course, you're going to be a little bit upset. But again, have your plan. Usually we see very strong buybacks into September, one of the largest periods of corporate buybacks, which is bullish. That's right. I shared that last week. With NVIDIA earnings on the 28th, how do you see this playing out? Well, I actually see the market playing out relatively bullish. So let's just go through and we'll side by side both of these together. We'll see what the chat thinks. So, what did you guys say? You said yes to the answered question of the poll. So, we'll close the poll now. And you said, will we see a sell at 55, 50, 5600? Now, you guys said 67% of you said yes, and 32% of you said no. If you're over on X, sorry, we couldn't run a poll there, but we will try in the future. And also, if you like this type of stream, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It does help us out. And great to see some people joining us on X. So we've got two gaps here, and you'll notice that we've again come up to the key level. So how I see it playing out is, of course, there are a couple of different scenarios. Overall, I'd want to state that I am net bullish. Okay, I've been net bullish for a while now. Net bullish down here, obviously still net bullish. I believe we are in late cycle. We've discussed this a lot on the shows through the day. You guys, based on feedback, do enjoy finding out a little bit more about late cycle. Obviously, yes, I do have a course that I wrote that is specifically talking about those types of things. But in general, what we want to be doing is we want to be focusing on where are the problems, where are the hidden dangers. And what we saw over the last couple of weeks was not dangerous enough. I know it seemed dangerous enough because, of course, you go and say, well, wait a second, the Bank of Japan, man, that's pretty dangerous. But they're gutless. As we saw, they kind of wound it back straight away, ran away, and it's all good for now. Now, are there problems? Absolutely. So we know this because, of course, we're seeing utilities. We're seeing healthcare starting to rise up, by the way. Healthcare is certainly a very interesting sector post rate cuts. So something that a few of you might want to be looking at and starting to think about is, let's say we do get a rate cut in September, what sectors tend to do well? Does anyone know? Chuck it in the chat. So what I think in terms of scenarios, there is a scenario that there is a sell here, okay? Somewhere around this zone. We fill gap one, okay, which is 53.45, possibly go as low as 5,300 and then rally up. So that's scenario one. Scenario two is we chop around here for a little bit, maybe fill a gap two, go higher, get to the back end of September, which is where we know NVIDIA earnings is, and then we dump after that, giving us the secondary dip that we've talked about in terms of Wayne's data, etc. And that's that secondary dip. Now, a lot of people are thinking there's a doubling bottom. Maybe is that wishful thinking, chat? Are we really going to see a double bottom? NVIDIA will blow numbers. Well, I always say to people, the reason why you have to think about NVIDIA as bullish is quite simple. There was a meeting this year. Okay, 1 second here. NVIDIA, trillions, CEOs. Okay, this is really all that I really cared about. And all right, here we go. Oh, meeting. Oh, I can't even find the thing. But anyway, I think at their recent meeting this year, where they talked about obviously a new chip and they were discussing new technology, they had all the CEOs from all the biggest companies fly on over. These guys were worth a combined, 50 trillion, something like that, some unbelievable 10 to 50 trillion, some unbelievable amount of money. And that's all that you really need to know. Anything they make, these guys will buy. And they were lining up to try to get secret meetings to try to get that stuff into their businesses. So will NVIDIA do well? I'm sure it will. Why? Because it has all of the CEOs in the most powerful companies in the world wanting their product. And that's really all we need to think about. Berkshire's next $1 trillion company. Buffett is in T-bills. This is correct. Mega how-to man. So very important factor. Do remember that Buffett didn't sell for no reason. Okay. So when we look at this market, we have to think, okay, is it strong right now? Yes. Is breadth improving? Yes. One of the things you increase on or put onto your chart, advanced decline line. Highly suggest you do that on your US 500 charts, guys, your Nasdaq charts, etc. And yeah, Buffett's in T-bills. Buffett sold off some of his positions. And you might say, well, Buffett's like 90, whatever he is. And obviously Munger's no longer here. Why do we need to follow Buffett or even think about it? He's not going to change his investment philosophy because he's 95 years old or whatever he is. Basically, they will always cash out when they believe that the risk reward doesn't make sense. And there's a simple chart, and I actually think I shared it over on X. Here it is. And this chart is pretty much as simple as it gets, guys. Lower valuations, more potential for great profits in the future over the next 10 years. Yeah. But when you have high valuations, anything forward PE ratio between 20 and 25, the 10 years going forward is going to be kind of dangerous. And this is where we are right now. We are in a real potential for this market to enter into what we call a lost decade. So that basically means that if you get caught at the top, potentially in certain stocks, it could be bad here. I like oil stocks. Oil stocks generally will do poorly if the economy is about to go bad. Also, they don't tend to do very well in rate cut environments. So you've got to remember that. But I don't mind oil stocks potentially right now. Then, as not really an investment though. Apple buyback is running out of cash. That's the simple answer for Warren Buffett building cash. The next simplest answer is bonds are about to outperform. Interesting. PG says, Tom, is there a quick way to calculate the equivalent price of TQQQ when looking at Qs? Might be a silly, obvious question. Look, TQQQs just, you can put them side by side, probably is the easiest way. So just put them in a split screen and side by side. I don't think you really need to calculate it though, do you? I mean, you can see Qs and instantly put, you'll have the same price, so you'll be able to create it very, very easily. Very, very easily. Okay, so simply the key level for you to watch so far this week is 55.12. We break underneath that. I think we're starting to show weakness. Two open levels for shorters, 54.52, which is the gap fill, and then 53 to 45 to 5,300, which just so happens to be a fib level as well. And I think that's probably one of the keys. I've done a little bit of analysis on this level down in here. I do think it's very strong should it come back down to that zone. I'm not convinced it will, but I am, of course, on the lookout for that as an opportunity. All right, let's move over to one of the other markets that started to improve last week, which was the Russell 2000. And this one, we pretty much said there was going to be a squeeze on it. The next day it squeezed. And yeah, I like a lot of things about this chart right now. The Russell 2000 obviously has this really nasty looking candle setup. It has another nasty looking candle setup. I call this traps everywhere. And we do know as well that the Russell, in terms of where it has huge support, is not that much lower. So 2040 area, a lot of buyers will be sitting around that point, I think, for the Russell. Now, Tom Lee, of course, is super ballistic bullish on this from Fundstrat. We might not care necessarily about his particular call or anything like this, but if the market is to do well in 2025, we've already demonstrated through the earnings. Remember, there's a lot of earnings charts that we've been talking about, and I don't think I've got one here, but the earnings charts in general are pointing towards we need that back end market to start to improve. So the Russell 2000 has to take us into earnings in 2025. Will it be able to? I don't know, but at this point, that's not a bad closure of last week. So it kind of signals that pullbacks will be met by bull demand. Some levels to look at: 2080 and 2040 for pullbacks on US 2K. I was Googling Buffett in T-billies. Billies, says DGB. Okay. Tom, have you thought about episodic pivots as a trading system or trading strategy? Pivots. Like pivot points or something? I don't know. No, probably not. I am more of a fan of using TA, cycles, data, money flow, obviously money flow being options, and then trapping. Traps are very, very important. If we all listened to Tom Lee, we'd all be millionaires at least. I don't think so. But yeah, if you went full on leverage and you were bullish the whole period, then sure, you'd do better. And it does pay to usually be an optimist in general, but there's been plenty of different positions, and there are quite a few that we can go through today. So let's just quickly talk copper here. Copper starting to really heat up, 0.98% up today. And it may seem pretty boring, but in general, copper has been running since we talked about it. We're hitting that 4.22 high soon. If we get through that, that's a good sign that copper could continue. We've got a lot of metals really low right now. So if you have a look at aluminium or aluminum in America, if you have a look at iron ore, if you have a look at copper, if you have a look at any of these things, of course, silver as well. They're all pretty low and they're starting to improve. And this is suggesting that maybe yields will stay a little bit higher in the curve. So a lot of people expect like 6 cuts now or something by next year. I don't think that's going to happen, not as fast as that. So maybe the market's starting to get that mean reversion going on. Another area of interest. Can anyone guess where it is? It's not in the US. I'll give you a hint. So we do like the US stocks, of course. We'll go through some single stocks soon. But it's not the US 500. It's not the Nasdaq. It's not the Russell. Can you guess the other market that I'm going to probably bring up sometime during today's stream? I'm sure a few of you will be figuring it out. Almeri says, can you have a look at Hood? I do like Hood, and it is pretty bullish. So if you have a look at Hood, if we break that down just for a moment here, you'll notice that you have a very strong pickup from last week and the last 2 weeks indeed. Not easy to TA it because it's just such a strong V-shaped reversal. But at this stage, there's nothing to hate about the chart. It looks quite strong. A few of you got it right, and you have said Japan. No, not Japan. It is China. We are watching, and of course, well, we haven't even been watching. We've been looking very closely at China recently, and specifically, we saw some interesting action going on last week. We saw the HSI breaking through the 17.4 level. We obviously saw a lot of dark pool activity. So quite a few traders started to what looks like buying up big tech companies. We saw JD and Baba come out with okay earnings. We saw 700, which is Tencent, come out with pretty good earnings. So in general, although there are still weaknesses, yes, you could read every single thing in the news that will tell you that China is the most scary market in the world. But realistically, the charts say something different. I thought I'd just kind of reiterate this. By the way, if anyone's in Sydney, I'm doing a speech up in Sydney probably next week. So you're welcome to attend. I'll have some details on that for the daily show. But overall, you've got to remember, what has this market done? This market has already fallen to its lows of 52%, about 70% from the peaks. Some are worse. Some tech stocks are down like 70, 80%. So you've got to remember, it's gone through a recession. 70, 80% in quality tech stocks. That's a recession. So China's gone through a recession. Now it's starting to face this recovery phase. And there'll be nothing good in the news during a recovery phase. The market sniffs out recovery faster than, of course, the news articles and the rest of the people figure it out. So that's why you've always got this initial stage. And I'm going to read a quote to you, which you guys are probably going to be like, oh, why is he reading quotes again? But it's such an important quote to remember in trading and investing. We're just going to go down to this one here. And it is this quote: stocks are built on pessimism, they grow on skepticism, they mature on optimism, and they die on euphoria. John Templeton. Great quote here, guys. Never forget it. I never do. Also, he brings up a good point of fives being usually quite bullish. 2025, not expected, at least by statistics, to be a negative year, if you can believe it. We'll give it. Would you guys like a video that we do at the end of the year? We'll get the crystal ball out. We'll do we'll get the dust off it. We'll do a bit of crystal balling for 2025. What do you think? Should we bring that on the show? I can do some crystal balling. This year I've only got one crystal ball. My crystal ball is generally bullish on AI and gold. And you might say, well, they're not even the same thing. And I'd say, yeah, that's right. But and utilities. We like utilities. But in general, yeah, very good quote. Remember to keep that one in the back of your pocket so that when you feel euphoria, when you feel that real late cycle action that's probably going to come in over the next year or so, you kind of know what's going on. Another one we need to look at is Intel. Of course, Intel. I just want to read some of these. Now, you might be in the chat right now. I'm not picking fun, but I just want to read some comments here about Intel, the stock. Okay, so I've said here, looks like it's forming a structural base. We'll go into it in a moment. It's something I use quite a lot in our Market Masters Club, which is our kind of private community, similar to these streams, but we go through like faster and more kind of setups. But I just want to read this. I'm not going to read any particular person's name. Intel is in serious trouble. Just watch their profit dropped from 21 million to 1.5 million. Okay, thank you. Next quarter, it will drop by another 20%. This is an unmitigated disaster. Intel failed to pivot away from the x86 and it can't even compete. Maybe, but why bother with a broken stock and a crap company when we can find other opportunities? Okay. Maybe, but this company conducts itself, the way this company conducts itself surrounding products is making me unwilling to take a bet. Here's the problem: no profit, no dividends. The only reason they are not bankrupt is because of the $9 billion government loan. All right. So, why do I think they're all fair comments? They're not wrong. I mean, do I think Intel's a good stock? Does anyone here actually think Intel's a good stock? Of course it's not. It's crap. So the thing is, it is a crappy stock. All right. We can probably all agree on that. It's been crappy for years. We've still traded it very successfully to make money from it. Okay. Now you might say, well, the easy trade is short. Sure, it's in a downward trend, but sometimes there are mean reversion capabilities on a stock. And the thing is, you don't have to love it. Remember, if you hate it and it has a technical setup that you know you can control your risk, more importantly, and you can replicate something, then you should realistically be looking at that. Remember, your perception of a stock is usually down to data that you're getting from different sources. Is that data good? It's unlikely. The market is usually in front of you. So remember, the perception here is that this stock sucks, and it does. It's terrible. Would I buy it for an investment? Absolutely not. Why would I do that? It's a really bad idea. However, when you start to look at it on the surface and you say, well, wait a second, this stock got mutilated. I mean, mutilated. And it's been mutilated twice. Remember, we have had two trades here. We've had two trades. One trade was here and here, which led to our profit target. Anyone remember this? Anyone actually get that one in the chat? Let us know. And then we've got one down here, which is very interesting. An oversold market that is starting to show a little bit of recovery. And what this does is it actually does activate a very particular trade. Can anyone guess another stock that did this the other day? There was another stock that got absolutely mutilated. The news was terrible and it dropped. And people tried to buy the dip and they tried to buy the dip and they tried to buy the dip. Remember, there's a difference between buying the dip and buying a significant reversal concept that is just for a trade itself. So, yeah, you guys got it right. Crowd. Exactly. And the thing is, the stock sucks now because even though it's a great stock in terms of its earnings, it's going to get sued ridiculously. But this one here, people were trying to buy the dip. And on the show, we said, do not do this, guys. This is very bad. Buy the dip here, sad face. Okay. Buy the dip here, liquidation. Buy the dip here, you lost your account. Buy the dip here, even worse. But on that day, the day, funnily enough, the day that everyone was capitulating on the market, crowd went ballistic towards the upside. And that was a significant day because it basically showed you that's the end of the downtrend for now. And we're going towards mean reversion. So I guess like why I want to mention this is because I'm getting all these comments that are like people's opinions. Like let's say somebody last week said to me, silver sucks, Tom. I said, okay. Okay, thank you. No, he said, you don't understand. Silver sucks. I said, yeah, I know. Okay. What of it? Because if you bought that last 10 years, it sucks, bro. You made no money. I said, okay, so it's had a lost decade. That means it probably will start to outperform. And he goes, no, you don't. It's terrible. Stop talking about it. I said, dude, you got to remember it's ratio. It's all ratio. It's all trade ratio. Your opinion is making you lose. So I just wanted to mention this. Is this helpful to you guys? I don't know, chat. You let me know. You guys are smart and you might like this. You might not like this. But you've got to remember that these stocks, when they do the turns, when they do replicable turns, they actually aren't bad trades. But you've got to know what you're doing. And you certainly don't just go and randomly buy the dip because buying the dip sucks. But buying the rip or buying the turn can be an effective strategy if you know what you're doing. So I just thought it was an interesting one because everyone hates on things because they've got a perception. But remember, if you are looking back at 2011 to 2022 and saying silver sucks, that's not trading. That's like an investment philosophy. And you're looking at past performance and assuming it's going to be future performance. And that means you probably don't understand what the hell's going on. Nothing sucks. It all depends on risk reward, current price, and timing. Absolutely. Love this replication for scalp and short swings. Absolutely. I like, says Clown Trader. I like your pitch. Oh, your pitch is scary, actually, Clown Trader. Anyone else scared by clowns? Anyone here a clown? There could be a clown. Mate, we've got a lot of people here. We've got over, well, I don't know, 1,500 people, I think, through the network. So thank you very much for the likes, guys, for the comments and everything you guys are doing for the channel. It really is helping out. But this clown is a bit scary, so we'll get rid of that. I think the only thing I was scared of as a kid in my dreams might have been clowns. One of my friends was scared of ET. I re-looked at ET the other day. I was like, yeah, ET's kind of scary. Clowns are not good. Are you all in? I'm 70% out. Very good. ARK K is proof. Yep. There you go. ARK K, the experts at buying very... There we go. Here we go. Chicken and chips. I don't give a crap about Intel, but took Tom's concepts and educational concepts. 1 second, guys. Just fix this. There we go. All right. We fixed it. So what was this? Closed out some profits and let the remainder runners. All are paid for. Oh, congratulations. Very good. I like that. That's nice. ET was scary as a kid. I agree. Very terrifying. What is everyone else scared of? Clown Trader. He knows where you lived. I think he's actually in the gutter outside. I'm pretty sure. Clowns trip me out. Yep. Scary. Clown Trader. Clown phobia. Absolutely. Thank you. By the way, about copper, isn't it almost 100% correlation with HSI start this year? That's an interesting concept. Does anyone know how to do that? Well, you can do it by putting on HSI and then you just put plus and then you type in copper and then you enter that baby in and then you can have a look at whether it's correlated. And look, it is fairly correlated. The reason why? Well, China likes copper. Well, traditionally they've liked copper. So yeah, I guess you would be correct that it is overlaid pretty damn nicely, actually. Hasn't always been a correlation, but you got to be, because you can see here, I know that it isn't always a correlation, but you're not wrong this year, man. Thank you. Look at this. Damn. Look at that. We'll just highlight that baby up. We'll get that. No, we need to go yellow for, it should be orange, shouldn't it? Yeah. In the country that you're in right now, do people steal copper from houses? I'll say in Australia, people do. You build a house, you got to secure your copper because there are thieves that come and steal it from you. That is absolutely correlated, though. You know, not wrong. Another correlation, which is completely useless right now, is US dollar yen versus the stock market. Are you an NVIDIA whale, Tom? I wish I was a real whale on NVIDIA, but a real whale would need like 150 mil to a billion. So I do not have 150 million to a billion, but I'd like it. Wouldn't be too bad. Tom, to the important stuff. What are your thoughts on breakdancing? I think that it is an abomination. I think breakdancing is fine when I was 20. And what we saw at the Olympics was an abomination. It wasn't good. It was not good. I am just wondering where you should invest copper instead of HSI. Well, look, I'm just going to say this right now, and I'm sorry if the person's in the crowd, but I'm not going to say who they are. But I got an email over the weekend, and I wanted to tell this as a public service announcement of why I hate wheat, okay? And I hate specifically cocoa, coffee, these other things. This person, unfortunately, had been part of some other community, some place, and they'd gotten into the softs, yeah? And he becomes stuck in a soft. And the soft had then started rolling on contract and rolling on contract and rolling on contract. And, you know, it's terrible. It's cost him big money. Big money. And yeah, that's why you don't trade softs, guys, because the roll contracts are brutal. All right, let's continue through a couple of positions. Obviously, we saw gold movement through. So I am kind of bullish on the China stocks. We'll see whether they hold up. Gold, we saw a nice breakout. We got above 24.88 with the weekly. That's strong. Some levels to watch out for this week if we do get pullbacks, 24.50 and 380. I think those are two levels that I wanted to mark. So I believe there could be buyers at those zones. Specifically, though, we have to be now bullish on gold. Well, we already were, but we have to continue to be bullish on gold because it is dull. So you can see here it's slowing down. There's no doubt it's a bit sloth-like, but it's been consolidating. It's slowing down. It's breaching out. And all of these things, meanwhile, we are in a currency war. We've got China buying it. We've got Russia buying it. We've got everyone wanting a little bit of gold. And it's also time. You know, gold has been a horrible investment for a long period, but we've been on the right side of it this year. Remember, I'm not actually a gold bug. I couldn't care about gold. But what I do know is that there are times to own it and times to hate it. And that's how it is. Hi, Tom. PLTR and silver. Which one is better? Ooh, PLTR, guys. Anyone here like Palantir? Very, very, very strong coming off that earnings. My goodness. Yeah, this has been one that's I have been bullish on for a little bit. I like 35 specifically, which you can see here I've got marked, and it's just continuing to strengthen. I mean, there's really nothing to hate about Palantir right now in terms of price action. Very strong, holding a bit of the volume. Obviously, retail traders like it. If you're talking about pure momentum right now, I'd say PLTR has better pure momentum. In terms of upside potential, I think as a raw percentage, could be silver. Could be silver. What do you think of GDXJ, which is junior miners, junior gold miners? I think all of them are pretty good. So if you type in GDXJ, guys, you get the junior gold miners. If you're going to buy gold stocks, I highly think that the best way to do it is to not buy any particular gold stock. And you might say, why is that? Because it's kind of like run by cowboys. So I don't know what they've been doing. Maybe there's a bit of methylated spirits or something, but they've been too busy sniffing arsenic or something, and they don't seem to run very good businesses. So the problem with gold miners is always that they don't run great shops, and that's why you want to always be owning a bucket of them. I think bucket of miners is better than one, and GDXJ is just the juniors. So theoretically, this should be lagging the mains. And the mains are doing okay. And you can see here it held the low. It's bouncing out. And if you look at GDX, it's going towards the breakout as well. So, yeah, very, very nice. It's still very low, these gold miners. Like, you really think about where they were back in 11. Obviously, you think about even where they were over here in 20. And, yeah, they've got a bit of run. I think more the 20 level is possible. So, like a 44. And, of course, they're trading at 38 right now. Thoughts on Lucid? I don't want to get Lucid just yet. Ben says here, Tom, please go over to Roku. Oh, I'll do it for you, Ben. I'll do it for you. But I don't know why you wanted me to go to Roku. You just want me to rant about this stock? No, so you know I hate this stock, yeah? But I do like a level. And we know which level we want. We want $67. $67. Very strong. I got an alert here. Look at this. I'm taking Roku damn serious, man. Is this a decent bounce? Yes. I think the low was pretty good. I think the breach is good. I think this is pretty good as well. We're at $58. So earnings is now out of the way. And it seems like it was green. Market dropped, took out people's stop losses. They don't know what's going on. Actually, my talk in Sydney is about this. It's a very interesting phenomenon that happens around earnings. Let's just say you've been lied to a lot about how earnings really does work. But either way, Roku then has dropped underneath 52. It's bounced back up. And I like that. And I like what I saw last week. I think I need probably another big day to snap this level off if you're really liking Roku. But you've got to say this stock doesn't look like a piece of trash like it used to. It's not a piece of trash like it used to be. Now, I'll tell you where it was trash. Okay, I'm not going to actually just point the top out. I'm going to point all of the trash points where I trashed this stock. I trashed it here. I trashed it here. I trashed it here. I trashed it here. Trashed it here. Trashed it here. Trashed it here. All the way down, I trashed it. Okay, so I didn't trash it over here because I thought it had pretty good price action. But I started trashing it around in here. There's no doubt. And yeah, I guess we were proven correct on that one. Zoom. Oh, terrible. Earnings don't matter as much as forward guidance. Correct, YouTuber. Absolutely. Joshua says here, what's NVIDIA top-off earnings going to be this time? You mean how a lot high can it go? Do remember as well, NVIDIA is also in the bonus of splits. I don't think I can probably load a split chart here quick enough, but because I'll have to go, I don't have one prepped. By the way, just so you guys know, oh no, not this chart. I don't really care about that chart. 1 second. There is something I wanted to say. Oh, I'm not going to be able to find it in time. Too far back. Yeah, that's pretty true. What is the potential top for NVIDIA? Look, I think that NVIDIA can get, you've got to think now in market capitalization. Nothing else really matters. So don't think so much about price, obviously from previous fills ages ago. But if you look here at the fact that it's trading at 3.06 trillion, then you've got to say, okay, well, how big can this company really get? And what I'm looking at is at the moment it's trading at, I believe, 40 to 42 forward, I think. So 40 to 42 forward, 45 forward is the average, which I want to do on the daily show, forward PE. Okay, so this is the average forward PE, 45 over the last 5 years. So we're trading kind of fair. And I know you might think, well, that's BS, man. This stock is rip off. It's trading what it's trading at. 45 forward is the average over 5 years. It's what it's been trading at. So if it's trading underneath 45, then technically it's undervalued, I guess you could think. Now it's got to keep living up to it. I'm looking for this stock to go above its average. There is a great chart. I'm going to read some numbers off to you, okay? This will blow your mind, all right? This is one from our private community. Thanks to George, who shared this. Let's have a look here. All right, let me just get this chat up here. Okay. I think you'll be amazed at these numbers. Oh, so much posting. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to read you out some numbers here. And of course, the Australian kangaroo internet lags. Okay, so these are the valuations near the peak for the top companies in terms of PE ratios. Cisco Systems, 150. AOL, remember that company? 217. Oracle, 152. Nortel Networks, I don't even know what that is. Maybe that's Norton. 105. Sun Microsystems, 119. EMC, 115. Yahoo, 623. That sounds like a good deal. No wonder it couldn't come back. And Qualcomm, which does still exist, 167. So we're talking some big numbers, yeah? So you've got to remember when you're looking at NVIDIA, you're looking at a bit of forward PE, and then you're saying, okay, how big can the market capitalization go? And this is really important concept. A lot of Bitcoin people are demented. And what I mean by that is they believe these numbers they call out. Bitcoin to $10 million. In what universe do you live? Are you mental? Probably. They're just off their heads. Now, why is that not possible? Because you've got to think about market capitalization. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. So you've got to remember market cap is important. So I want to ask the chat here. You guys come out 3.06 trillion. How big could NVIDIA theoretically get by the end of a bubble if we continue in a bubble? How big do you think the market capitalization can get? Let's be realistic. I don't want to see stupid answers. Let's see what you guys think. Tom, what's your take on Pfizer? We'll have a look at Pfizer in a moment. Nortel was a Canadian company that cratered, so it's dead. Market cap is important. Cisco never reached 3 trillion. That is correct. So you've got to put both and both together. That's why we're going to do here 5 trillion, 6 trillion, 8 trillion, 10 trillion, 6 to 7, 2. NVIDIA of 5.5, 4 trillion for sure, maybe more, 6 trillion, 5 trillion, exactly. Yep. So Google says gold has a 15 trillion market cap, so the same. Yeah, I think that's very fair for Bitcoin. Bitcoin could get around that. Like what I did last time during 17 and the 20 bull runs is I always said to people, you got to kind of take gold, you got to take it as a sustained asset, and you've got to say, okay, it cannot reach that number. It cannot reach gold this time. So therefore, if gold was 12 trillion back then it would probably be a max capitalization of all of crypto at around 3 to 5 trillion. And that's what I kind of came up with. The first time I said about 2. Each time it will subsequently get bigger. So if you want to ask me how big do I think Bitcoin and crypto can get this time around, I think the whole crypto market can get about 6 trillion to 8 trillion. Now, in terms of how big do I think NVIDIA could get? Yeah, I agree. 6 trillion probably on the top, more likely 4.5 to 5 trillion. And then we've got to be worried about forward PEs should they go standard deviation over. So, of course, if you're going to like a 55 forward PE, I'd be very, very worried. So that's how I'd track it. I wouldn't track it based on just pure price. Psychology, maybe it stops at 180, maybe it stops at 160. The round numbers will matter. The thing about NVIDIA you can already see how it reaches equivalent to stock split 100 and then stops. You've got to just remember it does tend to love psychology numbers. So even where it stopped over here, 90.78, not 90, just before. That's pretty common. You need to factor in inflation. I don't really need to factor in inflation on those reads because we're not looking at just that. Like, again, I'm comparing it to gold. I just don't think it can reach gold's market cap. That's my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong. Anyway, NVIDIA here, yes, very, very strong. Do I want to sell it? Not really. Do I think that it can have problems moving forward? Of course, there are some issues. There's a gap fill up here, which is at 126, worthwhile looking into. All right, let's do some quick ones. We've got PANW, Palo Alto. We've got PFE getting a request. PANW, obviously a Pelosi stock, I believe. She still has this one, doesn't she? Hits the res, having some problems here. I do think it will have some problems around this point. In general, very strong buying the other day. Excellent TP zone initially. And I would see this kind of going sideways for a little period. I think it needs to have a little bit of a break would make sense here. If it does breeze through, then you're looking at around 365, I would think. Let's have a look at Pfizer. So Pfizer has a pretty nice breakout the other day and then didn't manage to continue to rally. Now, Pfizer suffers from the problem that a lot of stocks do. And this is the same one that Triple M suffered from, which is, I'll just show you both of them so you can see. There's a bunch of lawsuits, and that's not good. It takes a long time to get these things off so that you can actually start to run again. So Triple M been a horrible stock for a long time. I do think Pfizer suffers from that. The other day, I was pretty bullish on it, being able to get to 33.50. Then we got the flash crash. I still don't mind it around this point right here, right now. I wanted above this doji to find a close, 29.20, and then you look towards the strength from that point. Let's have a look at T-bills. So that is TLT. Let's have a look at treasuries. Now, treasuries are doing something I wouldn't usually suspect. They're going up while yields are actually also recovering up. Now, what's that telling us, guys? If treasuries are going up and rates are going up, or at least stabilized, what's that telling us about the demand? People are demanding treasuries. Why are they demanding treasuries? They're worried. Why? They believe there is a certain level of risk in the economy. And I've been saying this for a long time. I don't think treasury is a very good trade. It's a very bad trade generally. But if you have a longer horizon, I'm not doing it. Buffett's doing it. Like, as in, like, I'm not. I like T-bills and I own them, but I'm not like stacking them like Buffett is. But at the same point, what's happening here is risk is starting to rise up in the bonds, and you can see that that's starting to come through. And therefore, the chances of going to a 109, 110 over the next kind of 18-month period are rising in a great deal. And you might say, well, that's pretty boring. It is. It's not that great, but it is exactly what you generally expect from T-bills. Thank you to the over 1,000 people that are joining us here for the Open. We've got about 36 minutes to go till we get the Open. We'll go through a couple of interesting positions in a moment. Thank you to the thumbs up. Thank you to the comments, guys. And we will go through a few things here. So, yeah, with treasuries, they've certainly started to rise up, which is interesting. Bond market is usually correct. Absolutely. Flash crash was shrugged off by everybody. In this case, the flash crash is fair to be shrugged off because the data stats point towards so much bullishness from that point on. Yeah, I do think that it's okay to do the flash crash shrug at this point. And there was another chart I wanted to bring up. Here is one from Mike Zaccardi, just showing you the current median stock EPS growth. Again, my crappy utility sector doing quite nicely. Healthcare also expect to do well. Financials still doing well. I do remember when all these sectors are doing well, your crappy financials, your real estate sector is still pulling it a bit. That's not a bad sign for the markets at this stage. Is bond volatility going to rise? I would expect it to, but probably next year. Can we have a look at Starbucks? Sure, we can. Starbucks was a great TP last week, and I liked it very much. I actually had some very large trades that were coming in before this whole CEO switch up occurred from Chipotle to over here. But yeah, I feel like it's at TP zone. I mean, that was always my zone of my targets were 87 and 95. This is why TA is quite good. And yeah, it smashed into it, and that was a good level. NVIDIA got in 10 years ago in the AI game when people said Jensen was nuts. Oh, actually, I have a comment on this for NVIDIA for you guys. Let's have a look here. Where have I got it? I do have one somewhere in my tabs. Here it is. So, oh no, this isn't the one. But this is an interesting point. Busiest US ports absorb import surge, which is an interesting one. And I don't know where I'm sure I had one for Google somewhere. Anyway, it is there. Basically, the gist of the Google one, or the report I read, the NVIDIA report, which I think is in our weekend video, was effectively that NVIDIA is a huge company that Google CEO, ex-CEO, believes is going to effectively do very, very, very well. We do have a super chat as well. I missed here from Dow Jones Dave saying, can you have a look at Barber? Sure, man. I hope you're still here, Dow Jones. Certainly cover that. Thank you for your support. I do like Barber at these levels. You know, I actually hate this stock because I think it is one of the worst performing stocks in the Chinese market. I've always disliked it. There was only one trade on Barber I ever did, and it wasn't a short, actually. There was a little long in here. And I remember it was looking okay, got dropped on a BE on this one, and didn't ever go back to it because I decided that it was going to be made as a pin-up child, effectively to say, you know what? This is what happens when you don't agree with everything. And yeah, Barber has suffered ever since. It hasn't done so well. If we have a look over here, we can see that we've got this really decent structure. We've broken out. We've come back. We've broken out again last week. All the signs are good for this stock. But it's not just Barber. It's JD. It's the others as well. Svetlin says here, $5. Thank you very much. Hey, Tom, can you have a look at Rocket Lab? RKLB. Is this a flash from 2021? Isn't this one of those companies that was like hyperactive back then? And then yeah, it was. Oh, Rocket Lab, really? How big is it? 3.26 bill. Certainly some strength last 2 weeks. The breakout is there momentum wise. I mean, I think it's super dangerous, even with a low base. But if you're going to look for it, you just kind of go with $8. Anyone else think this is a bit dangerous? I feel like it's a bit dangerous. The breach is big. The island reversal is there as well, but I don't know. Is Zillow a buy until elections? I'm not sure. Needs a break above 8. Yeah, I think 8 would break, would be a big deal here. Gold versus SPX chart. Interesting. It's like space, Tom, your favorite. Yeah, I don't like that either. I do not like that. Hey, Tom. Hey, all. Hey, Fabusa. Good to have you here. Let's check out SE. We'll do Tesla now as well. So anyone get 219 as a target last week and sell it off? Obviously, we talked about 220. If you've been listening to the channel for a long time, we always like to take it a little bit earlier if we can, just because we know that Tesla is rotated into by apes. And therefore, we know that they like taking the round numbers. This is how Tesla's current kind of structure looks for this week. We've got 220 again being the major kind of bull zone. We hold above 220 at any point. We open up significant moves. 230, 235 becomes very open in the positive gamma world. So we have to look at the price action. 235, 230 would get us into around this level, which I think is a very fair TP zone. So if you're going to trade Tesla this week, you're looking for a 220 plus closure and then looking to the momentum to go to 232, 235. I think that's probably the best. Otherwise, pullbacks, if they do come in the markets, probably going to get down back into the 200s, 185 area. Tesla is being supported by automatic ETF buys, possibly. Thoughts on biotech if rates stay up? I think XBI and biotech have looked pretty nice for a while now. So if you watch them and you check them out in the charts, that is a fairly strong bottoming kind of cup handle. So a lot of people would see this as the cup, and we've got that handle component, and we could be looking very, very nice. Now, what about if interest rates stay high? I think it's probably clear that they will do a cut at some point. My thought process is we wouldn't get a cut this year, but who knows? I mean, I'm not really investing based on a cut or a non-cut. It doesn't really matter. I decided not to play the markets and became a partner with Tesla and NVIDIA and bought huge stake in them and no one else. You became a partner with them. What does that mean? Is Bitcoin at these levels a buy? Good point. Bitcoin is at a very decent level, that is for sure. As a day trader, you'd have to feel pretty good about this zone. Exactly where we kind of wanted it to get to, 58K. Breached on the weekend above 59.9. So this is that kind of 60K issue problem. Barely closed, which is not the best sign. I would have preferred it cleaned it, then came down. One of the things you can look at today is actually just go above this little high here, because now we've taken some weakness into the market's gone down. It would be a huge turn point. But I do like Bitcoin. I think it's actually, yeah, not bad. Certainly one at around the right level. And yeah, I'm looking for it to go above 58.8. Tom, copper and BHP strike. Yeah, I like copper. BHP. Yeah, I like BHP, but I don't. The strike stuff, I don't know. I don't know much about that. Bank of Canada has already cut twice, so expect a Fed cut in September. Yeah, that's right. Everyone's going September, of course. Basic material stocks. Yeah, at the moment, these are the things. Fabiano says, IWM thoughts Tom Lee is bullish. We did that about 15 minutes in. Obviously, I am bullish on the price action we saw last week. So I think overall pullbacks to be met by bull demand, and Russell has one of the better runways on it at the moment in terms of pure percentage. I think Bitcoin still hits 42K. No. So the pricing that I always had was this one down here, which was 52, 51. And then the possibility, well, look, the way that came down to that level, there was no possibility of 42 because we saw too many synergies with the market at these bases. They all synergized together. Semiconductors, NVIDIA, S&P, Nasdaq, silver, so many markets were all hitting these major lows. And so were the crypto markets. This was the clear level. 26 minutes till we get into, of course, the open, guys. This week, there are a few things that we need to be discussing. We have here Tuesday, we've got some CAD CPI. And we've got FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday at 2 p.m. New York time. Then we've got some weird European news. Then we've got unemployment claims Flash manufacturing PMI, flash services shouldn't do too much. We have Jackson Hole. So, of course, Fed Chair Powell is coming to annoy us later on in the week. There he is, just coming out of nowhere. Oh, hello. Oh, I'm going to come fix the market. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to do cuts. I'm not going to do cuts. We are data dependent, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, the symposium, day 2 and day 1 starts Thursday. But, of course, day 2 is more important because they're looking at what does Jerome Powell have to say. Now, I will get some stats together for the Jackson Hole Symposium. So for anyone that's new here and you haven't subbed, make sure to sub. We'll bring those up. We'll see what has traditionally happened over that period of time. Hey, Tom, will we get to see your speech on earnings in the Market Masters or online anywhere? I have no idea whether they do it online. Probably not, but I don't know. Joshua says Thursday and Friday seem like the best days to trade. Do you agree? No. I think Thursdays give you huge volatility because, of course, OPEX, usually the day before OPEX gives it to you. The best trade days are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The worst day of the week often is Monday in terms of just like in general, like the way the market moves. Time to buy Boeing? I don't think so. I don't know, though. Goldman's job revisions? Yes, that is a thing. But again, if it's known, it's not going to be a big issue. Have you looked at JD stock yet? We haven't looked at it, but we spoke about it. Data dependent. That's absolutely true. Tom was positive on JD and Barber. Yeah, I am. I'm positive on the Chinese market. I think it's kind of good here. So thoughts on Disney? Yeah, I do think Disney has got a potential for a trade soon. I'm watching it. I've actually got it somewhere in his list. Here we go. I am watching it very closely. And you might say go woke, go broke, or whatever else you want to say about Disney, but it's really irrelevant. Again, you might hate the stock. It doesn't really matter. We're looking for price action. It could be it's found its base. I really feel like Disney is another one of those ones that has probably found its low, but I can't tell just yet from a replication standpoint. So, yeah, I would say it's too early for me to tell anything in particular. I don't know why I got so many lines here, but if I clean this chart up, I'm still the only thing you could blame is that it's sat here for a bit with pretty good earning. Well, obviously positive earnings. It's sat here, volume remained fairly consistent. I'd have to go do some more runs on it, and that's coming out of the gates. And I wouldn't say it's a negative stock. All right, let's go round and have a look at some things that are moving today that I kind of want to watch. So, of course, I am interested to see how Intel shakes up in the next couple of sessions, see whether it keeps going. Good morning. Thoughts on LLY? Eli Lilly dropping and then finding a massive bounce. Yeah, I don't really have much thoughts about this. To me, it's filled gap. That's kind of where you want to type of stop it. Let's go back over to the US 500 because there are a lot of people joining us to discuss this. So US 500 at the res, guys. We've got the one-day option move expectations 5,600, 5512. I would think 5512 should be on everyone's chart this week. It's the low of Friday. It's the last low before we move to this new higher high. Anywhere between 56.20 and right now is a resistance zone. Check the Qs as well. 7 days up in a row, I think, as we said on the weekend video. That is starting to get near where you would start to see slowdown or a gap fill towards the other end. If you're looking today and you're trying to be bearish, the market is very bullish. So I would not necessarily do that. You've got here a series of higher highs and higher lows. Hard pressed to know that's going to sell. So you better mitigate yourself if you're going to do that. And we are looking for a low steal of 55.12. So until that really happens, I'm not really feeling very sally on this market. I think it's just kind of just still grinding up until it isn't. Where are some of the better opportunities? We've got potentially a new silver trade that could come through if silver has another good session. We have copper flying high, which is good. We have oil with no turn. So I didn't really bother mentioning oil because there's no turn yet. So I'm watching oil, monitoring it for us. We've got Bitcoin, a very interesting point. So Bitcoin for the bulls could be quite interesting. If you miss the major US markets, Russell is also interesting, just in terms of momentum. Not really what I would call excellent replication right now, but it is there. And from the other stocks, Tesla really nowhere kind of easy zone, being at 216. Stocks, let's give a couple of thoughts so you guys can give me a couple of stocks that are big. I want $50 billion plus stocks. Can you give me some that you believe are setting up technically? And we'll do a quick fire. So we've got 21 minutes. Let's do a 10-minute quick fire round. We love to do this on the channel. Give it a like if you like this type of stuff. We're doing 10 minutes of very quick runs on stocks. Let's get them all. All right, we've got some coming in. We've got MU. What's this? Civil war coming up. Yeah, there's something called the Civil War cycle. It is something that I do consider. I do not like it very much, but it is a consideration. All right, MU, pretty strong recovery. Like all these, Micron, SMCI was one I got last week, which was pretty good. MU, nice recovery so far. Is it replicable? Probably not. We've got problems at 110. Yeah, I don't think there's anything there right now. So I'm just going to say if I think there's something there, and if I don't, then I'll just skip to the next one. Lulu. Okay, so this is completely cooked, but I do like it very much. You know, you get your island reversal down the low. It is the last island reversal since here. Obviously, island reversals have done quite well. You can see here, island reversal, island reversal, island reversal. At the res, there's no way the 259 is a problem. But there are probably a few decent chances that this could find some mean reversion. Chuck a 20 on it. Could be interesting. Good bounce. Weekly is improved. So certainly as a dip buyer, Lulu could be worse. I think it's not too bad. Let's have a look at Alta. Alta purchased by Buffett, wasn't it? And that sent it back up. Can't remember if another massive island reversal. That will be running on momentum. I don't think there's no risk reward though, because if you buy this where you've got problems, 402, where you're going to put your stop losses, big issues there. FCX, what is this? Freeport. Let's have a look at Freeport. Island reversal as well. I do like that. This is in minerals and metals, which we've been talking a little bit about today. Not bad. Island reversals are very common in the metals space, and they tend to be decent trades. So yeah, I think it's pretty strong out of the gates. Risk reward may be worthwhile. Problems at probably around this 40, 46-ish area. All right, let's go back up here. PANW, I think I did that before. Google. A lot of people wanted my thoughts on Google. I've been really racking my brain about this. Maybe the chat can help me. Chat, I want to know. You guys know. Will a split of this stock help or hurt it? Okay. So Google obviously coming under a lot of fire. And not just the fire from Donald Trump's tweeting. Not just that one. It's coming under split fire. So it's being attacked from every angle you can ever think. Now, will it not be a 3-pillar for me in the future? That is the question. I'm thinking about this split from the financial standpoint. I'm not really too sure which way. So a lot of people think it's going to hurt. Oh yeah, I do need to do SE. Let me put that up. There you go, Ray. Google hold off for now, not seeing Wyckoff accumulation. It looks to be a bear flag. Yeah. So it's done very well. Obviously now pulled back to a May period. I've really been thinking about it. You know what Google doesn't do well? Google doesn't make new businesses very well. And you can see that with this AI thing. They usually have to buy something. It's been doing good, but I don't really have a strong. I thought I'd get an opinion out for Monday. I said I would, but I looked into it. I don't really know. I want to look at more stats. It's kind of unprecedented in many ways. So I probably will follow a little bit of the price action, but I'm not prepared to make a knee-jerk reaction. So to me, what I'm looking for on Google is this area over here to be break and bake against. So this 175 area. Now, if we can get back up above that, I feel like the price action is telling me something good. But right now, I agree with a few of you guys. I'm not sure it's accumulation or whatever whatever it is. So I certainly will be looking. Truly Messiah, I've done BTC a few times. So I do like it at around this zone on the day trade concept. Doesn't innovate. That is a problem. Absolutely. Let's do SE. So a few people asking for SE. Decent company. If you've never seen this one, it is basically Amazon of Southeast Asia. And it is well on its way to our target zone here, Ray. And I know you've liked this one for a while. So yeah, you're targeting at 88 min. So 88, if it breaks through that, could be really going to 120. Very nice. A lot of these consumer discretionary stocks actually improving in out of nowhere. Look at them go. If Google decides how the split, very good. If SE decides, very bad. I agree with that statement. Good one there. Good one there. Roblox P's Tom from Michelle. Sure. Let's have a look at Roblox. Anyone got kids that buy this coin, the Roblox coin? I'm sure a few of you do. It's like it's like a little, it's trapped. It's trapped, but it's not really doing anything in particular. Let's have a look at daily. I guess above 42, you're looking at strength because it struggled there for many months. And then you're looking at 46 at the moment. I wouldn't be bearish, but I don't know if I'd enter anything. What do you think of Shop? Let's have a look at Shop. Shopify. Very nice. Again, another one of these. It's like they had loose lips. Yeah, they moved before the retail sales. All of them improved. I actually really like Shop. It went underneath this trend line. So obviously we talked about this, got smashed in that flash crash, re-rallied above here. It has real potential to get back to 88, if not higher. So again, another one of these stocks that's having a nice run, similar to Palantir, similar to Hood, similar to SE, what we just looked at. Shop is also doing very nicely. So all good. Yeah. What do you think of Ethereum? Ethereum is fine. It's not doing as well as Bitcoin. You can see here the daily a little bit nasty, and the 2 hour not as good as Bitcoin. Again, it didn't really get through that line I wanted it to. So Bitcoin's going to pull it along. And if we actually watch here, we might be able to see Bitcoin go past my little 58,777. Does SE own Shopee? Yes. Shopee. Whatever it is. Anyone seen a Shopee ad? They're pretty funny. I don't think I can play them because we get copyright struck for it, but there are some funny ones. Thank you to the over 1,000 people joining us just on YouTube alone. Appreciate it, guys. And to everyone else over on X, thank you. TLT 3X leveraged. Yeah, that is the thing. If you want to do that. SoFi, please. Snow as well was a request. Sure. Let's do these. SoFi Technologies. Not too bad on the 2 hour. Not great on the daily. Yeah. I can't hate on the chart, but I can't see a replacement there. What was the other one that I just said I would do? Snow. Snow. Very low is snow. Oh, that's a white. Oh, I would have loved to see massive volume on that white. Earnings in 3 days. I'm going to say wait for the earnings. Patience, react, don't predict. I feel like there will be a trade here. We might have to revisit it next week. I do like me a nice swipe, but I usually want more volume. I don't know why it's so low in volume. Why so low on volume? That's terrible. Very bad. I'd like that to be a lot more. PDD, Buffett sold Snow. Interesting. It's a massive dump. That was a massive poor position then for him. PDD, Pin Duo, looks fine, looks strong. Temu. Not this is Temu, but PDD doing quite nicely here. How much of one should be willing to risk on one's account in a single trade? Should 5% be a maximum downside? Depends what instrument you're using, but yeah, generally speaking, you want to go about 1-2% for risk on a trade. On a what I would call a position-based trade, you'd have to go about 5%. And yeah, you really like should be fixing a stop loss. So it depends like what you mean by risk. Like if you buy a stock and 5% of your risk is down to 0, well, that's okay. That's a bit different to 5% of your risk is $1 away on a stock that's worth $100. You know what I mean? So it is, I would say 1-2%, but that's what everyone says. I think it's more important that you actually look at it from what's your risk reward ratio, what size is your account, how can you replicate it, where's your stop loss, what's your setup. Crowd looks like a V shape. PG, we were on this one last week. For sure, crowd was a V shape and it has been recovering, but it did hit one of our major targets, which was 260. Very nice trade, very replicable. Very, very replicable. So we are 10 minutes off the open. We've already gone through the US 500 a few times. We obviously want to see how it deals in this area. We're still net bullish. No reason to be bearish yet, guys. But we're looking under 55.12, whatever that price was before for that. A few people asking, what about these big stocks? All of them have pretty similar charts. So you can see here, Apple's is much stronger in terms of no weakness there at the 61.8 fib. So very, very strong on its way to trying to get to 240. Google, of course, with the antitrust. NVIDIA, very strong. Meta, a few of you guys liking this. Meta may be an interesting target if you want to set an alert above the high, because it has actually been consolidating, if you can believe it, since February of 2024. It's done basically not much. So it's been doing what I call a pullback in time or a pit, and they can be good momentum trades if you get them right. So I'm not sure if we saw a sign of a great trade. If you actually manage to pick it up here, that's actually a very good buy, very replicable buy here. But again, better trades were out there than Meta at that point. Hello, Tom. Would you take a look at Zim? It just had its earnings. Sure, man. Let's have a look at this. 9 minutes till the market opens. This is Zim Integrated Shipping Services, up 21.90. In general, I guess I've looked at it before. It's strong, not super strong, but coming off base, decent volume over here. Earnings is massive. It looks like 21.92, so 15%. Yeah, I guess it's already shown some signs of strength, doesn't it? I mean, if this can carry through, you're looking at, I don't think 21.90 is a high. Makes no sense. If anything, this thing will want to go to 23. But if you're not in it already, yeah, not easy to get into. Whenever you take a screenshot, that's the time to take some profits. Whenever you take a screenshot, that's the time to take some profits. Yep. Please look at NIBE. I don't know what that is. I've done crowd a few times. Great job, Tom. Enjoy the chicken tendies. No worries, Jeremy. Bitcoin popped over your 58.77, up 0.7 now. Yeah, that's good. I like Bitcoin. This is probably one of the only ones you're seeing a bit live that has a technical pattern on it. That's every morning you don't come in and say, oh, everything's fantastic, let's buy it all. You just have to look at what gives you a replication setup. Do I know that Bitcoin is going long 100% of the time? No. But if you know your statistics, if you know your replication, that's what's important. So if you've been watching for this channel for a while, I'm sure a few of you have. How long have you guys been watching the channel for? Some of you guys have been watching it for like 4 or 5 years. We have literally, over the last 2 weeks, we've got silver, we've got copper, we've got oil. They're all random trades, but they're all replicable, same setups. We had US 500. We had obviously NVIDIA. We've had Crowd. They're slightly different trade systems. In fact, there's 3 different trade systems used in those different trades, but they're all the same replication. If you run them, here's a bit of a tip for anyone. If you run a trade system, you want to run it 40 times live, okay? And you want to run the exact same trade system 40 times. Once you've got it done 40 times, it's just going to become replication. and you won't really care what other people have to say. You just know your stats and just keep putting them on and on and on and on. Remember, if you're risking every time $100, which is probably not going to hurt you too much, let's just say it's $100, and you're making $200 and you're winning, let's say 62% of the time, are you doing damn good? Well, I would argue, yes, you're doing damn good. So that's actually pretty good. You might say, well, 62% sucks. I'd say 62% at 2-to-1 ratio is actually not too bad. In fact, beats most people out there. But that's what you're kind of looking for. You're looking to say, what are my stats? If I keep doing the same thing, will I make money? And I want to risk the exact same amount. Yeah, absolutely. Sandola, my man. Hello, Sandola. Good to have you back, dude. Sandola77 gifted 1 FX Evolution membership. Very much appreciated there. That is awesome, Sandola. And Sandola sending a $4 super sticker. Now, Sandola's been around for a long time. Aussie Cobber also been around a long time. 42 months. Been watching for a long time. I reckon you've been longer than that, man. Yeah, appreciate it, man. 4 years from Andrew Cross since December of 2020. Thank you, Stacy. Much appreciated. It was great to meet you. Last year, Adam saying 4 years plus since 2020. Thank you. Thank you very much. 4 years. Appreciate it. Yeah, amazing, guys. Good morning and happy Make Money Monday. Absolutely. So we're looking at a little bit of an interesting Bitcoin position here because, of course, we've got a technical level of interest. We have obviously seen a little bit of action on the weekend towards the bull side. Bitcoin has been sloth, so it hasn't been exactly a huge move. Did see a nice bounce off the low of 56s, and we're looking to see whether this now can start to move above the 60,000. And if it can, there's a good chance it's going to break 61.5, and then that sends you to 68. There's really not much. Once you get past this level here, there's not much stopping it to around 68,000. Thank you. Almost party time. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Started watching a month ago. Glad to be here. Learning a lot really fast. Awesome. Keep learning, dude. You never stop. And thanks, INF. So, yeah, look, we never stop learning. This year, somebody sent me a chart. And I was like, that's a really good chart. Thank you very much. And you'd be surprised. I've added it in. I kicked one of my other charts out. This chart's better than my chart. It was better than what I had. I was like, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, that one's a little bit of sauce. I like to keep that sauce a little bit. I have a little bit of sauce, yeah, but I do share a hell of a lot. And when you see these things, you'd be surprised how much there's so many charts out there that are fear-mongering charts. And don't get me wrong, we use the clickbait here on the channel, okay? I know I have to use it because it's how it is. But we try to be even-keeled. I am bullish. I'm bullish for reasons, but I'm actually net bearish long-term because, of course, I do have my reasons to be believing that we are heading for a very bad time. And it all seems to be pointing in line with the cyclical concepts that I focus on. But the key here is that what we're doing, guys, is we're just like always learning. When you stop learning in the market, you're done. You're done. You're cooked. Like, I believe I've got probably 15 to 20 years left. And you might say, why have you got only that much length left? Well, you can't keep it in the top of your game forever. You're just not going to be able to be there. Is a doctor the best all the way through their career? Probably not. They're probably peaking around 40, 42, 45, and then they go on a decline on 55. And then if they're still performing surgery at 70, I don't know. Maybe they're still good. Maybe they're not. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that's fantastic for you. US 500, 2 minutes till we open. Jackson Hole Symposium Thursday start time. It's probably the biggest news of the week. We made a higher high, 55.69. We're looking to see how the market reacts at 55.12. For buyers, this could be an interesting buy zone. If it makes underneath, rallies would probably want to be look towards fading. And the fade, we believe, could push the gaps. So make sure you have the gaps there. Why 7 days up for Qs is not impossible to keep going, but statistically becoming less likely. And we're not expecting a huge pullback at these points. It's possible, but yeah. In your first 50, absolutely. Yep. FX Evolution, can you have a look at NIB? I still don't know what that is, but what is this? What market is this on? I'll have a whoa. Whoa. It's the gaps everywhere and stuff. I tried, but I couldn't find it. Thank you. All right, here we go, guys. We've got 1 minute till the open. Interested to see how a couple of stocks open. In particular, wouldn't mind to know how Intel ends up by the end of the session. I'll just have a look here in the pre-open, only up 0.1. But we are about to do it. All right, let's kick it off for Monday, the 19th of August here in Australia, 11:30 p.m. at night. That's what we do from Australia. We are flat across all markets pretty much. Seeing some strength in crypto, Bitcoin just finding a little bit of buys. Copper was up 1, now it's only up 0.5. And here we go. All right, guys, VIX is down to 15. Our general expectation for vol is probably not during the buyback period. So do remember, watch 2 videos ago on the channel if you haven't seen. We opened the buyback. I think I also posted our bullish thesis over on X. And here we go. So we're 0.3 up on Intel this morning, post on the close. So it's actually doing better than the market this morning. And of the big tech stocks, you can see here they've opened. Google up 1.24, NVIDIA flat, Apple at 0.3. Rich Buddy says, do you suppose NVIDIA will sell off into earnings and off this month? We looked at it before. Obviously, we didn't talk about the earnings. I do have some stats, Rich, to share with NVIDIA. I'm pretty sure it's always banged out a good earnings, like for like 10 years. Now, that's not to say the stock is going up, but I'm pretty sure it's done like a crazy stat. So stay tuned. I'll put that in one of the daily shows. But there is a crazy stat to do with NVIDIA and the earnings that is coming up in terms of how bullish it's usually been. Yeah, my thought process, it depends how high it gets. If it cracks a new high, then I could see it selling off into earnings. But you got to remember it's post-split. And post-split should be very strong the next 12 months. And so far, NVIDIA hasn't been very strong post-split. So if we look, where's our split? It's like over here. So we had post-split bought up. We're just above the split level. We should generally be doing double-digit gains off that point. Monday, so good to me. Fantastic, Joshua. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are doing well. Gold down. Don't worry too much. If you're in gold long, you've got to expect that after having such a big run yet last week in terms of breaking that massive area. Oh, wow. Okay, super. Yeah. I've got a stat for it. Don't worry. I've got a stat for it. Absolutely, we do. Tesla ripping higher. YouTuber. He's so troll, man. So he got me excited. 0.5%. And he said he was ripping. It always gets me when people say it's ripping. Well, that means I can say Bitcoin's ripping because it went up 0.2%. That's funny. What is that car? Zim over 23, great call. I want to revisit so we can actually learn something here. It's highly likely to get that kind of number. Here is possibly going to be a problem. You got to remember, TA is exceptionally good at when you get a godly earning or a really crap earnings at getting that next level. Yeah. So when we were looking at it, which was like here, what the hell is this? Obviously, it's great earnings. Why can't we just go smash bang straight into the resistance? Why? There's no lines around here. We have to go smash bang into the resistance. So when you have an earnings that was clearly good, you're always going to want to push that narrative of that next major zone. And usually it's going to do it in the session. So congrats. That's very cool. But yeah, that was good. Hey, Tom, being a gold bull with target of 3K, are you buying physical gold or just gold stocks? Bit of a mixture. I don't actually own bullion. You might say, why do I not own physical bullion? Because it annoys me. It's actually quite expensive to own and store. So what I use is I use gold ETF physical bullions that store it at a commercial grade level. You might say, well, Tom, that means you don't even own it. Well, I own a piece of paper that says I have some. Yeah, I usually own it that way, and gold stocks. Yeah. So I have gold stocks and I have bullion ETFs. You've also got to consider as well from Australia and from overseas, it can be difficult to own certain asset classes when you've got to convert into the US as well, or vice versa. So it can be a little difficult there. Tesla cratering. Thank you very much for updating me on the massive moves. RSX Type S. Very cool. 5K win on open futures on the NQ. Again, 5620 plus would be an obscene amount of buy hedging that would need to go on. I don't think that's going to happen from the US 500. So it seems to be a little bit lackluster into the open, but that's not surprising. A lot of just kind of up, downs, and all arounds. Hey, 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 hey. Hello there. Did you see that? It was to the moon, guys. 0.9 I saw for a second there. 0.9. Let's just quickly zoom that in. What happened to my 0.9? Come on. This is how we watch the screens. Does anyone do? I do not. We were doing a live analysis of the S&P 500 in our Masters Club, and the people in the chat made me watch it for half an hour on the 1 minute chart, and I forgot how bad it was. I don't know how you guys do it. I really don't. Like I remember this 2007, 2008, glued to the screen. My eyes were bleeding, 16-hour days, just absolutely addicted. Yeah. Completely addicted. And I was loving it. But I think I could not think of a worse thing in my life right now to think of a 1 minute chart and be watching this thing, or a tick chart, or a 30-second chart. It would make me bleed. I couldn't do it. And that's why I design systems that are all built around setting alerts and just pressing buttons, so that I don't have to I do analysis for, you might think I sit there in front of the chart all day. I totally don't. You don't have to once you actually set alerts. This is painful. It's painful looking at this. IWM, yep, nice, 0.48, good. Tell the live meltdown story. You mean the time where I got partially liquidated on a crypto position? Yeah, that did happen. That did happen. Oh, that was not cool. I remember that. I was like, yeah, it's 30, it's 20, it's 5. Oops. 30.25. I got an alert for PayPal. Why have I got an alert for PayPal? What's going on in PayPal world? Let me move it. See, set alerts and you can find stuff. Let's have a look at PayPal. 1% up. All right. All right. All right. This 1 minute chart's blinding me. Let's get off that for a second. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, definitely this is improved. That's a huge level for PayPal, guys. This is a big zone. Get rid of this. This crap stock. Beautiful trade the other day, though. So the crap stock is going strong. That's actually a beautiful trade, but I would have still taken NVIDIA all day over this crap at that point. This was on Monday, 5th of August. Would you really have bought PayPal? It'd be about 2-to-1 ratio, but I can tell you NVIDIA all day over this thing. Anyway, this is a big level for it because, of course, if we breach and we get through this, actually already looks pretty strong. Could PayPal go 76? Could PayPal go 76? It's possible. It's very possible. It's actually not the worst chart in the world. Pretty strong. NVIDIA did like 30%. PayPal is around 15% now. That's right. Look, it was too good an opportunity. 65 VIX. We watched it here live together. That was up there in one of the most random things I've seen in trading. The craziest stuff. I want everyone to put in the chat. What's the craziest thing you've ever watched in trading? I'm going to put them in the records right now. The craziest thing I've ever seen, the US dollar Swiss busting 45 cents in 5 minutes. That's probably the craziest thing I've ever seen. The second craziest thing I've ever seen. Oh. The US dollar Swiss definitely burnt into my mind. Not because I didn't make money on it, because I got stopped by the broker and they said I couldn't have it. I couldn't have the money. That was very annoying. Oh, I don't know. That one was definitely up there. The US dollar Swiss was definitely the wildest. If you're not familiar with the US dollar Swiss Euro Swiss disaster of the last decade, that was that was when pegged markets go wrong. I think last week was certainly up there, but not the biggest. The pandemic was probably the biggest. The global financial crisis was scary, but I just didn't have the money. Yeah, so it's less scary. But the pandemic was very nuts. If you knew how to read bond markets during the pandemic, I know you all bought the dip and danced around and said, how good am I? But from someone that knows how to read the bond market, yeah, let's just say the bond market was predicting, and I'm not even kidding you this, and 90 and somewhere between 70 and 90% fall in markets. It was really bad. At minimum 55, 60%. Minimum. Yeah. All right, here we go. We've got a couple of people coming in. Watching oil go negative. Yeah, oil is no anything at the moment just yet. Crude in 2020, negative. That was a good one. Where you got the contango effect, absolutely. Crude in 2008, also wild. Crude going negative. Yeah, you're right. It's pretty good. But I still think crude going into contango was more predictable than the US dollar Swiss. I just want to show you guys how wild it was because you haven't seen this before. But let's load this. And I know that doesn't matter which broker I use. They've all rewritten time a little bit in terms of the charting. So this is the point. Now, I've got this on a weekly, but remember this happened in less than 5 minutes. So this was what we call a floor. So this is a rule. Do not trade pegged markets. It's why I wasn't a big fan of trading the US dollar yen because it's kind of pegged. So you can see here what happened. It dropped. This actually went to 47 cents. So the read was 120 to 47 cents in less than 5 minutes. It was completely illiquid and it just blew accounts. Like people had like $2,000 accounts go to like $150,000 negatives and like $100,000 accounts go to like $2 million negative and stuff. It was just nuts. So people lost big time on this one. That was probably the wildest thing. I watched that live and it just got melted, completely melted. That's the fastest move I've ever seen in the market, considering the money. This is an entire country's currency wiping 120 to 47 cents. Think of the US dollar against the Australian or something, or any of these currencies. That was just absolutely nuts. When the stupid crypto coin Doge went ballistic, that was ridiculous. Probably will do that again, though. So I wouldn't put it past that one happening again. Well, that was like saying GameStop is one of the most ridiculous things. Some great stories in trading. Maybe we'll do a story time one day with get some people on the show. So what have we got today? We've got a couple of little hyper growth stocks coming out. A few of the horror stocks that have been lagging. Disney. Actually, I want to see like AMD today as well. Actually, I should have looked at AMD. I was meant to look at AMD. It's up 2.2. That is a shame because I was meant to look at that. I had that in my notes. Oh well. Yeah, with AMD, if you're in that, I'm looking at 156 as an area. But in general, I would say the small companies like the PayPals and the beaten down stuff is doing well. And the big companies such as things like Apple, Amazon, Meta, NVIDIA, they're all kind of flatlining. And small caps seem to be the strongest of the market sector. So we'll finish with pulling through the chart here to see where the sectors are. Little bit disappointing here in the open for Bitcoin. Probably would rather that's doing a little bit better here. It's not really a concern unless it gets under something like 57, but would prefer not to get under that. And in terms of what sector's doing the best, it's home builders out with communications, with clean energy, with energy stocks in general, so XLE, and semis finding the slowdown. So all the leaders, which are these three over here, they're at the bottom, and home builders, communications, bio, kind of a little bit of risk on, but in small cap stocks. That seems to be the general gist of the morning. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We went through quite a lot of stuff. We know 55.12 is the main key for US 500. We are at resistance areas across the market. So I think I'd be cautious about adding significant positions in quality stock here, unless you've really got a long term, just because it's at that res. And you do need to be aware of that being there. That being said, what is your best expectation? Maybe a gap to gap 1 or gap 2, which we looked at before. And for gold, silver traders, it's expected, again, weakness here, especially on silver, hitting into a key resistance. PayPal, interesting one we might bring up on the show as a random stock, and we'll see how can the crappy Intel hold and start to move forward. So far, it's okay. 0.5% was up 0.91 before. So we'd like to see this have a couple of decent sessions. We'll see whether it can get it done. All right. Thank you. Join us next Monday. We'll bring it all through. And thank you for the people that supported for a long time. Again, Sandola, been around for a long time. Always appreciated him. And Aussie Cobbler as well. Great person. Been watching 42 months of subscription. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. You have a great day. Absolutely smash it in the markets. Replicate, replicate, replicate. And you will be able to do better. Remember, this isn't gambling. It's not FOMO or fear. It is a business. And unfortunately, when you turn trading into a business, it might become a little bit less fun, but hopefully you start making some good green. All right. Catch you for now. Bye. See ya.